this one ends. The Bruins beat Carolina.
So the Boston Bruins would play against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. And this is a big matchup for the Bruins. They need to show that they can beat the top-end teams. They have done it before, but they need to have good momentum going into the playoffs. And the Carolina Hurricanes are one of the elite teams in the NHL. Now, they just had a good road trip, had some time off. So going into this game, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a hell of a game. Well, going into the first period, the Bruins would start out strong. Brad Marchand getting his 400th goal of his career.
Morgan Geekie puts the pass right on, breaking into the backhand. Anderson.
This is a breakaway situation, but Freddie Anderson thought there was contact.
That was a great pass up by Geekie. Marchand gets his 28th of the season. That's just good for him. Finally get that monkey off his back, and hopefully he can get things going towards the end of the season. And the Bruins would not be done. David Pastrnak. Well, Hurricanes didn't do Anderson any favors on this one.
Pastrnak at the goal line, getting some real estate, and he scores!
Burns went to Heinen in the middle, and that gave...
Yeah, you can't just let a lethal goal scorer like Pastrnak walk in like that. Those were great hands to draw Anderson off the post, and he just rips it top shelf. Bruins go up to nothing. And they would not be done. Pastrnak with an awesome feed over to Heinen.
Fan on that attempt, but will get the second opportunity. Sent across, they'll score!
Pastrnak will find a way in a magical manner.
What a hell of a pass. That's Heinen's 16th on the season. And I have to say, watching the Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak, and Dan Heinen line, I love it. I absolutely love it. Andrew from the Short Shift podcast, I'll have something linked down below in the description. He raved about the Heinen signing. And I wasn't really against it or for it. I was just very indifferent. But Heinen has proven even me wrong. And I wasn't a big detractor from him. He's played absolutely fantastic for the Bruins and has given you far more than you expected. And I like that line. Zacha and Pasternak's offensive ability with Heinen, who can help, as clearly shown in that goal. He can kind of make up for some of the defensive lapses that his other winger Pastrnak will make. So, Bruins kind of took it to the Canes in this period. But I'll say this, they did get close at one point. I'll include a clip if it's in the highlights, but what a spectacular save effort to keep it out. And as for Anderson for the Hurricanes, I'm not going to blame him. Marchand's a breakaway. Pastrnak walked in alone. Heinen, that's just a great feed over to Pasta. Those are high scoring chances. Yeah, most goalies are not going to be able to stop those. So, first period, give it to the Bruins. So the second period kicks off, and I'll be honest, both goalies made some good stops, and the Bruins had some prime chances to extend their lead. Sebastian Aho would trip Charlie McAvoy, and the Bruins would go on the power play. But yeah, that wasn't a power play. I felt like the Hurricanes were more dangerous on their penalty killing than the Bruins were on the power play. So really not much to say there. And then a few minutes later, because McAvoy is into pain apparently, he gets high stick, draws some blood on his lip. They go on a 4-minute power play. And option A or option B? Option A, the Bruins move it around, deep low cycle. Or option B, they just keep passing it to the point and then losing it. What do you think they decided to do? Well, if you pick B, you're an intelligent person, you're watching the game. The Bruins power play was absolutely horrific. Now, this is not to take away from the amazing Carolina Hurricanes penalty kill. They're number one in the league for a reason. They're very aggressive, but also very structured in their defense. They make it very difficult. They don't give you much time and space. Whereas comparison to the Bruins penalty kill, they can be a little bit more passive. There's different ways to kill penalties, but I do like Carolina's. I feel like they have the perfect personnel to utilize the system that they do, but it was horrific. A 4-minute power play and maybe just one real dangerous opportunity. That was about it, and it just kind of continues the Bruins power play struggles, and that's something they're going to have to address. Some might argue, oh, they won a cup in 2011 with a horrific power play, but eventually you're going to have to score on it, and with how much talent you have on the ice, it's inexcusable to be that ineffective. But then Boston's like, we'd like to take penalties too. Brandon Carlo, Hampus Lindholm. And the Hampus Lindholm one was bad. He cross-checked him right in the numbers, right by the boards. They're going to call that every single time. the Carolina Hurricanes would have 1:50 on the power play. And what do you think they do on this great man advantage? Jake Guentzel would get on the board.
In the air, it'll bounce behind the net. Guentzel trying to get a stick. He'll put it in and score!
Now Swayman would argue that there was contact from Nason, but I fully...
Listen, I don't want to hear no Bruins fans complaining, oh, that's goalie interference, it's goalie interference. No, the defender pushed him into Swayman, thus knocking him over. And I'm not going to blame Swayman on that. He's on the ice. He really didn't have an opportunity to get up. He was trying to seal the lower side. And that was just smart hockey by Guentzel. He bangs it off Swayman and the Hurricanes get on the board. But the Bruins, oh, they are not done. They're going to have too many men on the ice late in the second period, giving the Carolina Hurricanes a prime opportunity to make it a one-goal game. But the Bruins and Swayman were able to kill off this power play. And I would say that one was the worst one for the Hurricanes. But the Hurricanes' worst power play is better than the Boston Bruins' best power play at this point in the game. But it's a 2-goal game. Bruins are up 3-1. But the Carolina Hurricanes, they played really good in this period. They definitely won this period, in my opinion. So we're going to have to see how things go in the third. Jeremy Swayman started out this period strong, made a couple nice stops early to keep it a 2-goal lead. And the Bruins would get another power play, and yeah, not much to say here, just the same old story, really uninspired hockey. It's actually surprising how bad they are at the power play. I feel like they're far more efficient on their 5-on-5 compared to their 5-on-4 when there's one less opponent on the ice, but that's a whole different discussion. But the Carolina Hurricanes in the third, especially early on, first probably 7 to 8 minutes, were completely dominating the Bruins, hemming them in their own zone. Bruins couldn't really get anything going in the offensive zone, and the Canes just carried the play. Swayman made some nice stops. And a guy I have to mention, Peak for the Bruins, the guy they brought in at the deadline, he's looked really good, really steady, blocking shots, making really good defensive plays, steady stay-at-home defenseman. That's what the Bruins exactly need. You know, there's really not too much to say about this period because the Canes dominated the play, but they got a few dangerous scoring opportunities, but were mainly kept to the outside. Bruins managed to kind of play sort of a prevent defense, and while I'm not the biggest fan of that, I don't like them taking their foot off the gas, it worked out for them. The Canes would end up pulling their goaltender, Anderson, and Lindholm from almost 200 feet. Buries an empty net goal. Bruins win this game 4-1. For me, when I'm looking at this game, as a Bruins fan, that's a good win. You finally beat the Carolina Hurricanes in regulation after 7 or 8 games. That's a big, big win for them. That's a confidence booster because the Hurricanes are a very good team. There are some concerns. I didn't like how they looked in the second and third. They kind of struggled to have offensive possession, and they got to fix that power play. They got to stop playing with it at the offensive blue line on the power play. Get it low, try different looks. They're so predictable, and I'll say this a nitpick because Pasternak's a fantastic player. He can be very lackadaisical with the puck at the blue line, and it can cause some pretty bad turnovers. As for the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm not really worried about this loss. First period, yeah, the Bruins really took it to them. But in the second and the third, if I'm being honest, I liked how the Canes played. The puck just didn't go their way. Swayman made some nice stops. But once the Carolina Hurricanes woke up in the second period, I felt they had a pretty solid game. Did they generate some opportunities? Absolutely. If this was a different game, maybe they get 1 or 2 of those opportunities to go in the net. Swayman just rose to the occasion. And Anderson, I would say, for the Canes, while not really tested after the first, I thought he had a solid game. Yeah, he lits up 3 goals, but again, I wouldn't blame those 3 on him. But yeah, that was a good game to watch. Very interesting, very defensive, and a guy also I gotta say this: Chatfield from the Canes, dude, he's a lot of fun to watch on defense. He's very gritty. I liked watching him play. I do every time I tune in, I watch him play. When he's having a good game, it's really something you got to mention. But I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section. Who stood out to you the most in this game? Who impressed you the most? For me, it's going to be the line. Pavel Zacha, Danton Heinen, David Pastrnak. That is the best line on the Bruins right now going. I love how they looked. And hopefully they can kind of sustain more offensive pressure in the next game. I thought out of all the lines, they played the best. Just in my personal opinion. But I'll see you in the next one.